This is Annie Kid Wolf, and you're watching This is Punk Rock of Punk Globe Magazine.
1, 2, 3, 4. Punk rock, punk rock, punk rock. 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 It ain't brain surgery. Punk rock, punk rock, punk rock. 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 It ain't brain surgery. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm your disease, I won't bleed, you can't control me. Take it instead, 'cause I say that you can't pull me into you. I don't want your revolver. I'm your disease, I'm afraid it's gonna thrill me. Made up my mind, there are signs that are showing that you're losing it. I'm gonna play it. I saw you losing it. I'm your disease. I think you're losing it. I'm your I'm your disease, not at ease. You won't release me. Loosen your grip, I won't trip, but not going down with your ship. I'm gonna play dead. I'm your disease, you won't chill until you kill me. Deep in your mind and your soul, you know you're gonna have to let me go. I'm not your savior. You have to let me go. I'm your disease. You better let it go. I'm your
Yeah, sick. Hello, Jessica. How are you? Welcome to This is Punk Rock. It's great to have you here. I want to hear about what you're up to and your, association with punk rock and what you think about it and all of those things. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So you just released some stuff just recently, and are you releasing something else too? Uh,
Well,
there's a bit of a
yes,
buzz.
yes. I'm releasing a full-length album next Friday.
Right.
Yeah, I have a new album coming out.
Uh,
It's yet to be released. I've dropped a few singles and yeah, looking forward to finally releasing an album. I haven't put an album out since 2018, and sometimes things just take some time, it's you need to
Definitely.
you need to feel that creative energy and spirit, and you can't force it. Anyway, I'm excited to finally put something new out that I've been working on for a few years now.
Perfect. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about your influences? I've seen some of your videos, I've heard your music, and I want to hear from you some of your earlier influences and did punk rock have any influence on your music? And you have
Definitely.
a real um powerful image. You put across a real, female fronted, powerful, fun way of putting yourself out there. So I'm wondering if, like tell me a bit about your influences, your early influences.
Okay, well, um, I'll just rattle off some of my influences here, and then I'll talk a little bit more about punk rock. So it's just
Perfect.
some of my like high point like influences. Would start with Beethoven, the Beatles, Bad Brains, Nancy Sinatra, Lee Hazelwood, Jefferson Airplane, Nina Hagen, early Metallica, Madonna, and REM. Those just kind of hit some of like the different genres that I was
Right.
all into. And of course, there's many more, but those are like kind of stand out to me throughout my life that have been strong, influential, and as far as punk rock goes, I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin called Green Bay. Might have heard of it because of the Green Bay Packers. That's pretty much all they have going for them there. I hope I don't get in trouble for that. But when I was when I was young teenager, there was already a pretty thriving punk rock scene in Green Bay, which really saved me because there was nothing else to do there. And I mean, for me, I was, what else, what are you going to do? You're in school anyway, but as musically, culturally, I was always a fish out of water. I felt like ever since I was a young girl, like I wanted to escape Wisconsin. But I discovered this cool punk rock scene, and it helped me like be exposed to things outside of the norm in my small kind of hicky, you know, football, hunter, beer drinking Wisconsin town. So punk rock really I'm so thankful for it. And we had a pretty cool little scene happening in Green Bay. I think one of my first shows was the Dickies at this Polish hall called Kutzka's Hall, and I think they were on their Killer Clowns from Outer Space tour. So I loved it, and my parents hated it, but I was glad it was around for me.
Great. Well, also, so when did you start playing music and when did you start to really come into your own with with your art? Because your music is very diverse, electronic, you hit on a lot of different things, very artistic in your videos. So I'm curious about that. I'm curious about when you started and how, how that developed for you.
Well, I started taking piano lessons when I was 5. My mother was a singer in a rock and roll cover band growing up, so I had that in my house, which is pretty cool. And they used to
Yeah.
rehearse in the basement, and I'd go see them on the weekend. So I was already like interested in music at a young age, taking piano lessons. My mom was this glamorous singer in this rock cover band. I'd go and watch her on Saturday night occasionally. My dad would take me, and it was so exciting as a little girl to see her mom up there on stage. So
That's cool.
uh, I I had that. I was like, I want to do music, and I grew up with MTV. I think I remember like the first day MTV came out. That's how old I am, and I was glued to MTV like my whole like from what the day it came out till as long as I can remember it. Maybe till I moved away from home. But so
music was always a part of me. I took piano lessons. My mom was a singer. I was obsessed with music, and I knew I had to leave my small town and go somewhere bigger and start pursuing this where there was more happening. So I left around 19 and I moved to Minneapolis, and that's when I started playing in bands. And I was in an all-female punk band called the Porn Flakes when I was like 19, 20. So that
That's
was my first
awesome.
band, the Porn Flakes, and then I stumbled onto this really cool group of people that are still my great friends, and we had this more kind of weird electro psych poppy band called the Minx, and I was the bass player. They didn't even know I could sing at first, and all of a sudden I started singing at rehearsal one day. They're like, "Oh my God, like you have a great voice. You need to be the singer too." So then I was the bass player and singer, and we had a cool run, and we got some notoriety around Minneapolis, and it was a really special time in my life. But I also knew that I still needed to leave the Midwest, so I couldn't stay there. I just didn't want to be stuck there my whole life. So I made my plan to exit. And I didn't tell them because I didn't want them to tell me not to go. So I kind of snuck away from my band. I think they understand now, but so and I moved to LA, and then I started looking for a new band to be in, and I had a really hard time with that, and I didn't find one, and it wasn't until I moved to Joshua Tree. I wasn't in LA for long. I was only there for a couple years, and I moved to Joshua Tree, and I met my ex bandmate now, Todd, and him and I met, and we formed. All of a sudden, we were the right match, waiting to meet each other. It was destiny, and we formed my former band, Graham Rabbit, and that was my run for a very long time, and that band was 12 years, and then that finally just kind of fizzled out, and I just kept going, and this is where I'm at now. And I, as you could tell from my influences, I like so many different things. If it's good, if it makes me feel something, I like it. And so I'm just kind of a melting pot of different sounds, and hopefully it's not too confusing, and it all just sounds like me, and it can be appreciated.
I think that's I think that's fantastic. Like I really respect people who um like to, explore all of the different things that they love, and they just write music that comes from them instead of trying to fit into a cookie cutter kind of way of being. You're using all those influences because they're just coming out of you. I have a lot of friends that are exactly the same way, and I've interviewed a lot of artists on here that are like that, and it's hard to pigeonhole them, but to me that's wonderful. Like, I love that. I love to hear an album where there's this heavy thing, and then all of a sudden there's this beautiful violins that happen, and it's very diverse, and you have that for sure. I've noticed with the stuff that I've heard from you. That's what I'm getting. And so tell me a little bit about this new album, and what's the date of the release?
The date is Friday, the 13th of
Woo!
June of June. So let's hope that's some good luck.
Yeah, some
Um,
good.
and the new album, to quote my friend Roy, who's a writer, he's a head spinning mezcal cocktail of the high lonesome sound meets Hollywood razzle dazzle.
Interesting.
Yeah. But so it's it's a mix of it's a little more Americana than my last couple of solo albums, which I kind of getting back to some of, I shouldn't say roots, but Graham Rabbit had some a little more Americana like spun into what we did. But
Yeah,
so this was a little more. It's a little more like guitar, pretty guitar, and softer moments.
right.
But then it takes off into weirdo land. So
Yeah, yeah.
a little bit
That's
of
cool.
everything,
Oh, I
and it's
love
like
that.
that's yeah. I just had to. That's what was coming to me, and that's what I had to let happen. So
So did
I
you
never.
write all the music on it, or do you have some people that you work with on this new album?
No, I wrote all the music, and my bass player Lee added guitar and bass because he can play guitar better than me, and he came up with some cool bass lines. But I wrote like what the songs are. I wrote
Hmm.
how they go, the changes, the lyrics, all that. And then, of course, I had some other people come in and play in the studio and make it a better sounding album than I could just do on my own. But I did a bunch of the work alone, and then I hired a producer to help me kind of
Wonderful.
finish it off. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, do you have some shows and a tour coming up possibly in the next little while that people can check you out at?
Yes, I'm not sure when this is coming out, but we're playing tomorrow night in Nevada City at a Honey Hills Fest. It's an all-female fronted festival at the Fern. And next Friday, we're playing our big album release party at the iconic and legendary Pappy and Harriet's up in Pioneer Town out here in the desert. And then June 14th, we're playing at the legendary Casbah Rock Club in San Diego. And then Los Angeles, we will be at the Redwood Bar downtown on Friday, June 20th. And for right now, that's the end of our shows, and then we have a bunch coming up at late summer, fall.
Great, great. So, tell me a little bit about your some of the other parts of your artist world, because I noticed in your video you directed the video along with someone else, the one of the videos that's the one that was just released. And
Right.
so I want to know about your overall artistic approach and how did you completely create your whole persona and then how do you dive into that with the different elements of art? Like what is your deal with that? I know it sounds like a vague question, but it's kind of for you to
Like specifically a certain project
no,
or
just you in general when you approach something like do you write the song and then
oh,
maybe be like, okay, I can see a video for this and this is how I want it to go, or this is some art that I have behind it that I want, I want this graffiti that there's in some of this video. Like how do you approach the whole overall because you're very do it yourself also, like you have it
yeah.
real, you do or do it all yourself in a certain way, like so I'm kind of more curious of your approach to the overall picture of your music.
Um, I guess I don't really think about it too much. I don't really like know that I have a strategy.
Okay.
For instance, the video that's out right now, Wacko, like that song came to me, a few years ago because of a situation, and maybe like a little melody came into my head, I'm your disease. It was also the time of COVID, so disease was a big hot topic word. So that song kind of just, started kind of fluttering around in my head, and then I, started getting on the computer and plugging in some instruments and messing around and like getting that going. And I think as time went on, and I like the song itself, it just it kind of shows me colors in my head. So it's when it's time for the video, it's like I think it should look like this, or we should dress like this. Like I want to, start like just even when you're driving, like things that you see on the side of the road, locations that might be interesting, just little pieces you just start collecting that become what that is. But
Hmm.
I don't know if that I have like one certain technique or way of going about it. I think every time it's just different, and I don't really think about it. It just kind of happens, and I work hard at it, and then it manifests.
Right. Yeah, cool. That's cool. That answered the question.
Okay, good.
Perfect. So do you want to tell me a little bit about some more of like when you moved to Los Angeles and you moved to Los Angeles and you were looking for musicians. Did you go out and check out bands and were you influenced by different bands that were in Los Angeles? Was this kind of like your aha time, like what you wanted to do? Because, when you said you started working in, playing piano and doing that at a really young age and playing in these punk bands, moving to Los Angeles is a big step. Um,
Right.
so
Well, but I was already remember though I went to Minneapolis, so I was playing
definitely.
in bands there. So Los Angeles was a big move, but I had already like broken into like the band scene
Hmm.
thing. So, but even though when I did get to LA, I was a little like, oh my gosh, overwhelmed. Like I didn't even know where to begin. But of course, yeah, I was going out to shows, and I actually got a job as a wardrobe stylist assistant. So all of a sudden, I was doing some of these music videos for big bands. I was on a Blondie music video, And I remember there's a moment where it was just Deborah Harry and I in some room together. And I remember telling her that I wasn't just some dumb video chick.
Yeah, yeah,
And
totally.
she's just like, okay. Like I had
That's
bigger
awesome.
aspirations in like working on some, I don't know. It was like one of these silly moments. But I used to work on
That's
music
awesome.
videos a little bit. Um, and it was a cool job. But I'm like, I want to be in the video. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be working. But back to your question, it was, what was your question?
Well, just about moving to like like I know that you moved from the small town to the big city and you did the punk
Right.
rock stuff, but moving to LA is it's kind of a little bit different. Like Minneapolis and
Well,
LA,
okay. The thing
very
is,
different.
my real music career didn't even really begin until I left LA and moved to Joshua Tree.
Okay,
That's when it
awesome.
began. When I met Todd, and I had been collecting I've been demoing stuff. I had all kinds of ideas, and I met Todd Rutherford, my ex bandmate, and we were in a relationship. We met, and all of a sudden we were like, it was like I said, like we were meant to meet, and we were really good together, and it sparked this really, we came up with the band Graham Rabbit, and that kind of took off. And so all of a sudden we were this weirdo band from Joshua Tree, and that made us extra cool. In LA, we were a little more exotic, right? So I had to leave LA to get more known in LA. So LA didn't really do me any favors when I was there the first time. But once I got out, and also being able to live out in Joshua Tree where it's more vast and open. I'm not stuck in this city. There's so much coming at you. It's hard to survive. It's expensive. There's a million people. There's a million
Yeah.
different scenes. Like once I got out here to the desert, I was like, okay, wow, this is kind of weird out here. This is different. I like it though, and I can just really concentrate and go inner. And I don't know, like it let me grow and let me be more soaked into myself. And then of course finding Todd was a great match. So yeah, LA was tough, and that's why I had to leave. And actually Joshua Tree kind of saved my life in a way. I didn't have to move to the back to the Midwest with my tail between my legs. So the desert saved me.
Yeah, Joshua Tree is amazing, very spiritual and very
Yes.
incredible. So that's wonderful that you were able to, really, create your career there in that,
Yeah.
spiritual, awesome environment. So, um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, if you, is there anything else you kind of want to add about, any sort of moment, punk rock moments? It's kind of neat, your Deborah Harry story. That's
All
pretty
right, my
cool.
documentary.
Just some different stuff, like just to kind of because one of the things that I notice with a whole bunch of different artists is that have that do it yourself kind of way. They do have multiple, influences and, they're directors or all that
Right,
kind of stuff because they're doing everything themselves. They're
right,
postering, they're doing all that kind of,
right.
interesting things. So I'm kind of wondering a little bit more about, I'm trying to dive into a little bit more about your things that interest you. Are you interested in doing, doing album covers? Are you interested in directing? Are you, what is your all your different interests?
Um, I'm I I don't know. I'm kind of just like music's my best thing, like I love animals. Like I care about animals. Like I have a deep passion for being like speaking up for animals and factory farming and all the atrocities that are going on across the planet, which is overwhelming, makes me so sad, a
Hmm.
lot. So like I have a passion for that.
That's awesome.
And if I could like maybe make a little more money in the future, I do already donate monthly to some things, but I would like to try and do more as time goes on to help animals. So that's something I'm very like close to my heart and I'm passionate about. Besides that, like yeah, I do like editing music videos, and I am artsy, but I guess my art is mainly me as a musician, me as a performer and a writer, and just trying to enjoy life and
Right.
having a good time while we're here because it's tough
And
some days,
doing all of those things because music is number one. So you're
I
doing
mean,
them.
being a musician, like it's like it these days there's so much you have to keep up on. There's not really any time to do anything else. Like just like posting on your social media and like making your videos and
Yeah.
playing shows. Like it's just like it's there's so much more I think that musicians today have to do, especially because of the social media stuff. That like I like especially with this new album coming out and we have a PR company helping us, but it's like I there's so many little things I have to like make sure I'm doing. And
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, but I
It's a
don't
lot of work.
even have time for anything else right now. And I
Yeah.
like
And
going to the gym. I go to the gym. I like to lift weights.
for you. Yeah, that was what I was going to ask kind of as the cap of it all is like what do you think about when you were younger working on music and creating, your career and then how it is today? And what does the word punk rock or what does it mean to you today? Is it a political thing or is it a do-it-yourself thing or what is just even that word? Because you starting in a punk band when you're younger
Right,
and evolving to what you do today,
right.
what does it mean to you? I know that the internet and the way social media and all that kind of stuff has changed completely,
Yeah,
the landscape of promoting yourself. But
yeah.
but what is that word and what is all the stuff around it mean to you today?
I guess punk rock just means to me it means freedom. It means being yourself. It means rebelling against what you feel like you're supposed to do or supposed to say, not worrying about every little word you say that you're going to get in trouble, and like not not conforming, just like, and I feel like I haven't conformed musically, so that keeps me punk rock because I can't just be like be I just can't be put myself in one box. So I think it's really, yeah, it's still to me like non-conforming and just being tough in today's world because it's tough out there, but like, it can be sweet too.
Yes. And do you think that the political landscape out there, how do you feel with your music and with the political landscape that's out there? Do you feel compelled to, like when you're talking about animals and helping, do you feel compelled to be that powerful woman on stage and just be able to, be yourself more, or do you feel a little scared about it? Or how does politics affect your world today?
I really don't let it affect me because it's so messed up and it's caused so many fights and it's so divisive and toxic. And I honestly, I think the right and the left are both messed up and like we just need to like get rid of both of it. And I just at this point I'm trying to like ignore political stuff completely and just focus on what's around me. What can I do to make my community better? What can I do for my friends? What can I do to help animals around me? How can I make myself happy? I'm done getting caught up on like, oh, they said this and this leader and Trump's. I'm just
Yeah.
it's never ending and it's toxic and it's a waste of energy for me to sit here and worry about that. So I'm just going to stay on my little colorful path in life and try and create and try and spread love and be fun and maybe be a bright place for somebody.
That's awesome. And is that your message out there to young artists too? Like, do you have a message to them, young artists that are starting out and they're not sure kind of where to go or what to do? Is there a message that maybe you could send to them?
Um, well, it's tough. This is a tough industry, but if you know you're good and you believe in yourself, then nothing else should matter. Just like go for it and go for it and just love it for yourself and don't always look for outward approval.
That's awesome. Yeah, wonderful. Well, that's great. I'm gonna make sure that we get this up soon as we can so that we can help promote your new album. And yeah, we're looking forward to, your shows and future tours. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for being on here.
Of
And I'm
course.
gonna put the video Wacko in here so
Hey,
people can check it out and
okay.
yeah, they can follow you and all of
Okay.
your stuff. So thank you so much
Great.
for
Thank
Jessica Von
you.
Rabbit for
Thank you. Thank you.
your awesomeness.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Have a wonderful day and good luck with
So,
everything.
thank you. I appreciate that.